Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Shy Boys Podcast. On today's episode, we gotta talk about it, y'all. Are the Bulls setting us up for another disappointing stretch? Golly, maybe it's just me tripping. I don't know. But y'all know y'all gotta hear the music first.
Cognac. Gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, holding it down for me and my co-host C-Dub on another episode of Shy Boys Podcast. If you like what you're listening to today, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now look, we know what the Chicago Bulls have been doing. We know since they picked up Patrick Beverley, they have been spectacular defensively. Zach LaVine has been on a tear. DeMar DeRozan has contributed tremendously. We seen Kobe White in the last game give you 17 off the bench. We know that Pat Bev has definitely provided some intensity and leadership to the team that was lacking in that area. But man, we've seen this story before. I gotta keep it a buck. Hence why I'm posing the question, are the Bulls setting us up for another disappointing stretch? Now look, tonight we take on the Toronto Raptors. Against the Raptors this season, we are 1-1 against them. We lost to them in Canada, came back home and beat them. There's some, yeah. But the major question is, what's going to happen tonight for us? Because the Bulls, they face travel delays due to snow, so they arrived in Toronto a little bit later. Will they be able to overcome that? We have to wait to see it. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no, just because I don't want to be peed off before at the end of the game when I know that these games are very, very, very important at this moment. Now, if we going over the history of the Chicago Bulls, y'all know me, I go for reality, not over optimism when it comes to these Chicago Bulls this season in particular. Now, look, throughout the season, we've had a number of things happen with the Chicago Bulls. Why we back on the road, let's go. We back on the road, let's go. And then it just, after winning some games, they just lead us right into disappointment. So look, during the season, the last time the Bulls beat Toronto, we followed that up by losing 4 straight. Then we beat the Nets, the Sixers, in Utah, and then lost 3 straight. We beat Golden State, Detroit, and Atlanta, and then lost 2 straight against the Pacers and the Hornets in blowout losses, y'all. Then we beat Charlotte, Portland, and San Antonio, and then proceeded to go on a 6-game losing streak into the All-Star break. Golly, just bringing it all up just hurts the soul, don't it? But that's the reality. That's the facts. Those are the facts. That's not opinionated. Those are the facts for the Chicago Bulls. Now, are the Bulls setting us up for another disappointing stretch? Look, we already know the last 2 games have been spectacular. They beat Brooklyn. They beat Washington. 2 very, very important games, especially considering that Washington is right above us in that play-in, that 4 teams that'll be in the play-in, and then Brooklyn Nets, who lost 2 of their superstars, who still has a really good team in my opinion, but I believe they will begin to drop in the standings. Just me. I could be wrong, and I'll take that. But as of right now, we know that this game tonight against the Toronto Raptors is like a playoff game, and the Chicago Bulls, before they came back from the All-Star break, before they took on them Brooklyn Nets in the first game back, they told us every game from here on out is game 7. Show us that tonight is another game 7. Show us that y'all are going to bring the intensity, are going to bring the heart, are going to bring the play necessary to pull out a victory against a team that's in a play-in spot that you can definitely grab and take away from them. You beat the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards lose to the Atlanta Hawks tonight. We see ourselves back in the play-in tournament and potential to get the play-in championship with Patrick Beverley. Come on, y'all. That's all we asking for. But at the end of the day, we cannot get too excited about what the hell the Chicago Bulls will do moving forward. Because to keep it a buck, we expect them to go out and beat Toronto. We can expect them to go out and beat Detroit. But if we keeping it a buck, and if we looking at the history I just broke down from this season, we just can't put our thumb on it. We just can't put our thumb on it, man, because look, we a lot of the times we go into these games, we play well in the first and second quarter, and then it's all downhill from there. But as Unc say, the Pat Bev is in full effect. But me, I want to continue to see if it's real. Is it real? The Chicago Bulls in the last two games held two NBA teams in the modern NBA under 90 points. Under 90 points. That is wild to me. That is wild to me. Against the Brooklyn, these guys had 29 points in the first half. And then against the Washington Wizards, they kept those Wizards to 82 points for the entirety of the game. Most teams scored that in the first half of the third quarter. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to prepare ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm going to be right there cheering with the Cognac crew. If you tune in, make sure you tune in for the live call for tip-off tonight against the Toronto Raptors. I'm going to be right there cheering my Bulls on, but I'm going to still do it with some caution. Still proceed with some caution, because we got to see if these guys really have grasped what the hell has been asked of them, and to see if they can still make noise and do what they need to do to put wins in the win column. These games are very, very important. In these games that you are these teams that you are more talented than, you have to take advantage of opportunities like this. Zach LaVine has been on a tear. Pat Bev told this man, look, your job is to score the ball at an elite level. And in the last two games, Zach LaVine has been elite. Elite. Y'all see how I said elite? Because that's how good Zach LaVine has been in the last two games. But I have to see it for a longer period of time. We got Toronto, Detroit, and then Phoenix. What will the Bulls look like once tonight against Detroit, tomorrow, and then later this week against the Phoenix Suns, with Kevin Durant coming back to that game? There's going to be more to talk about in that, but as of right now, we have to see what these Bulls can do. Will it still be the same old story? We got a healthy DeMar DeRozan back. He said the quad is feeling good, the hip is feeling good, and I hope it continues to feel good. But I will say this: if the Bulls want to continue to improve, they got to get more out of those guys off the bench. Patrick Williams and Ayo Dosunmu cannot come in these games off the bench after being previous starters and lay eggs. They have to contribute in some way. Billy Donovan has to get these guys in position so these guys can go ahead and succeed. When these guys are called upon, a Kobe White, I'm not asking you to give me 17 off the bench again. But can you give me 10 points, 10, 12 points off the bench? Ayo Dosunmu, can you contribute some points off the bench? Patrick Williams, same thing. I want to see if these guys can actually turn it up a notch, get in that mode, and go. Zach LaVine, you drop over 30 in that first game back. You dropped 27 in the last game. Can we get another 27-point performance that's efficient and dominant like we've seen in the last two games? That's still to be determined. I believe these guys will be able to do that, but they have to show me first before I become a believer. I want to see it done again and again and again. They told me game 7 is the mentality across the board. Show us. Y'all have to show us. Now, if the Bulls somehow lose this game, I don't want to hear no excuses about our plane was delayed. I don't care about none of that. Those are just distractions. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to go ahead and be in the playoffs? Because Billy Donovan said that we pushing for a playoff spot. We ain't pushing in, so we ain't tanking, and we ain't planning to not be in the playoffs once it's all said and done. Show me. Show me that you guys prepared. Show me that you guys are ready. Show me that the first two games are not a fluke. Because we seen the lineup with Pat Bev and Alex Caruso take advantage of the last two teams that they played against. But I will have to post this. Billy Donovan, the Toronto Raptors are a big team. Are you still going to come out here and trot out a small backcourt in Pat Bev and Alex Caruso against these guys that are like 6'5" and above? I think the shortest person that they have is Fred VanVleet. Okay, cool. Pat Bev can stay. But does that mean you move Alex Caruso to the bench and get Patrick Williams in for size? How do you game plan against the Toronto Raptors so we can see how these guys still come out and perform when changes in the lineup have to happen so you can match up well against opposing teams? That's what I want to see. Because if you come out here and you trot out the same lineup and they begin to kill us, how fast will you, Billy Donovan, be willing to make that adjustment? Are you preparing to make that adjustment? If you're running with the same lineup and it's getting ugly within the first, I wouldn't say getting ugly, but if it's not looking like it's going to be sustainable for the remainder of the game, what is your adjustment when it comes to a lineup with two guys that are not that big against a team that's much larger in size? So how do you handle that adjustment with Pat Bev and Alex Caruso on the court? Do you go back to Patrick Williams? Do you insert something else? Do you give us something else? I don't know. I don't have that much stock bought up in. I don't have any stock bought up into Billy Donovan. Keep it a buck with you. But we just got to see what can they do. Can they do this the right way? That's all that matters, and that's really all I want to see. Man, are we getting set up for another disappointing stretch? I ain't ready to make that conclusion. I'm not ready to draw that conclusion. I'm not ready to make that informed decision. But I got to see it on wax first. Show me. Go into the Phoenix game with a 4-game winning streak, and maybe, just maybe, I'll be a believer. Hey, but if y'all like what y'all heard today, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to be a part of our mailbag episodes, go ahead and leave a voicemail to us on that number, 773-242-9219. This is another episode of Shy Boys Podcast. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.
Cognac.